About 2 million years ago, early humans lived in a world that was always changing. The land was shifting, forests were growing, and grasslands were spreading. As their environment changed, these early humans had to quickly adjust just to keep going. Sometimes there was plenty of food, like animals to hunt and plants to gather, but other times it was really scarce. They also had to watch out for dangerous predators like big carnivores and rival groups. To survive, early humans used their smarts to make simple tools, their agility to chase or escape from danger, and their strength to hunt and defend themselves. They ate a mix of animals they hunted and plants, fruits and nuts they gathered, depending on what was nearby. Life was tough, with constant challenges and daily fights just to stay alive. This era was the beginning of humans learning to adapt and be resilient during Earth's early days. Before we begin this journey back in time, let us know where in the world you're tuning in from and what time it is for you now, so settle in and discover how early humans lived on Earth. 2 million years ago, early humans were navigating a world that was vastly different from today's landscapes. They belonged to the genus Homo, with species like Homo habilis and the emerging Homo erectus starting to carve out their place in the prehistoric tapestry. This period sits within the early Pleistocene epoch, a time characterized by fluctuating climatic conditions that swung between glacial and interglacial periods. These climate shifts drastically shaped the environment, turning lush forests into open grasslands and vice versa, compelling our ancestors to adapt constantly. The terrain was a patchwork of savannas, woodlands, and riverine environments that provided both challenge and opportunity. Water sources like lakes and rivers teemed with fish and other aquatic life, offering vital nutrition sources. Meanwhile, the savannas were dotted with plants, shrubs, and wild animals, each playing a role in the survival stories of early humans. With the climate shifting unpredictably, communities had to be versatile, focusing not only on hunting large game, but also on gathering a wide array of plant foods. Around this time, early tool use was evolving rapidly. Homo habilis, often called handy man, is credited with some of the earliest stone tools, pioneering new ways to process food and defend against predators. Slightly later, Homo erectus appeared as a more advanced species, marked by increased brain size and evidence of more sophisticated tools. These innovations weren't just about survival, they signaled a shift toward more complex behaviors, including cooperation, planning, and perhaps even rudimentary forms of social organization. The terrain and climate forced early humans into a highly adaptable existence, constantly on the move, constantly learning, and constantly evolving. Their survival hinged on mastering the fragile balance between exploiting the environment's resources and resisting its unpredictable hazards. As they navigated this dynamic world, their bodies and brains grew in complexity, setting the stage for future leaps in human evolution. This was a period of resilience, innovation, and relentless adaptation, an essential chapter in the story of what it truly meant to be human. 2 million years ago, the landscape of the Earth was a patchwork of diverse environments that challenged early humans in ways we can hardly imagine today. Vast savannas stretched across large parts of Africa, where tall grasses swayed in the wind, interspersed with scattered trees and shrubs. These open plains were the realm of herds of large herbivores, elephants, giraffes, wildebeests, and antelopes, all of which became vital sources of food for the burgeoning human populations. The climate during this period was far more variable and often more extreme than what we know today. Temperatures fluctuated significantly, with periods of intense warmth and episodes of cooler, more arid conditions. This instability influenced vegetation patterns, leading to periods of lush growth punctuated by droughts that dried out the landscape, forcing both plants and animals into survival battles. It meant that early humans had to be adaptable, constantly on the move to find reliable food sources and water. Forests still clung to riverbanks and shaded areas, acting as refuges for both humans and their prey. These lush enclaves provided cover and a bounty of resources. However, they were shrinking in some regions as grasslands expanded, a change driven by changing rainfall patterns and shifting temperatures. The edges between the forests and savannas created a mosaic terrain, offering a mixture of open spaces for hunting and trees for shelter and tools. Mountains and highlands contributed to the landscape's complexity, while many of these high regions remained largely unsuitable for the large-scale agriculture that would come millennia later. They played a role in shaping local climates and weather patterns. These terrains often created microclimates, producing cooler, wetter zones that supported different flora and fauna compared to the surrounding plains. This variation meant that early humans had to be equally versatile, familiar with multiple environments to exploit different resources. Rivers and lakes carved through this mosaic terrain, serving as lifelines in an otherwise unpredictable environment. These water bodies were crucial, not only for hydration, but also as hubs of activity where animals gathered, became easier to hunt, and where early humans found water, fish, and other aquatic resources. The presence of water also shaped the landscape over time, creating deltas and fertile floodplains ideal for early plant cultivation efforts, even if those were primitive and sporadic. More broadly, the Earth's geological activity meant some parts of the landscape were still shaping anew. Volcanic regions spewed ash and lava, creating new landforms and enriching the soil with minerals that could foster unique plant growth. Earthquakes, erosion, and other natural processes constantly reshaped the terrain, opening up new opportunities for resource gathering or forcing early humans to adapt to sudden changes. Altogether, the ecological canvas of 2 million years ago was kaleidoscopic, featuring expansive grasslands punctuated by patches of forest, sculpted by climatic oscillations and geological forces. Early humans had to navigate this ever-changing environment, surviving in a landscape that was both a playground and a peril. Their ability to adapt was honed by these conditions, a relentless, brutal environment that demanded resilience, ingenuity, and relentless mobility. Every hunting ground, water source, or shelter was hard-won in this landscape of extremes, laying the groundwork for the survival strategies that would eventually shape our evolutionary journey. 2 million years ago, the landscape of human evolution was dominated by a diverse array of hominins, the ancestors who would eventually lay the foundations for modern humans. Among these early humans, one of the most significant species was Homo erectus, a true pioneer in the story of our lineage. Known for their remarkable adaptability, Homo erectus had already begun to spread across Africa, Eurasia, and beyond, carving out a presence that would last for well over 1 million years. Their skeletal remains reveal a creature that was taller and more robust than earlier hominins, with elongated legs and smaller, less protruding faces, traits that hinted at a more efficient bipedal locomotion. These physical features suggest they were well suited to long-distance travel and demanding environments. Homo erectus was a groundbreaking species, not just because of their physical form, but because they also demonstrated advanced behaviors. They fashioned simple but effective stone tools, a technological leap that set them apart from their predecessors. These tools allowed them to process a wider variety of foods, including tougher plant materials and perhaps even the bones and marrow of animals. Their ability to hunt or scavenge meat was crucial during this period, marking a significant strategic shift in diet and survival tactics. It's believed that they may have been among the first hominins to harness fire, a development that transformed their dietary options and helped them cook food, making nutrients more accessible and reducing digestive effort. Alongside Homo erectus, several other hominin species existed during this period, though their details are often fragmentary. Homo habilis, considered by many as one of the earliest members of the genus Homo, had already given way to their more advanced relatives by this point. They possessed larger brains and more sophisticated tools than their Australopithecine ancestors, but they still retained some primitive traits. Homo habilis likely occupied an ecological niche that focused on scavenging and opportunistic feeding, often relying on opportunistic food sources rather than persistent hunting. Another intriguing early human relative was the species Homo heidelbergensis, which, around this time, was just beginning to emerge in Africa. They showcased a mix of traits inherited from Homo erectus and more advanced adaptations. Homo heidelbergensis had larger brains, comparable to those of some modern humans, and they showed evidence of more complex tool use and social organization. They were capable of building simple shelters and possibly cooperating in hunting larger animals, testaments to growing social complexity and cognitive abilities. The classification of these early hominins rests heavily on their physical characteristics, tools, and archaeological evidence. Scientists analyze skull shapes, brain sizes, limb proportions, and jaw morphology to distinguish species. Genetic analysis, when available, further clarifies relationships, but in many cases, classifications rely heavily on fossil morphology. These species are grouped within the genus Homo because of their larger brains, advanced tool use, and evidence of social structures, features that mark a significant departure from earlier ape-like ancestors. The era was a dynamic mosaic of early humans and their relatives, each species occupying a different ecological niche and demonstrating a spectrum of technological and behavioral innovations. The evolutionary path was not linear, but rather a branching tree with various species competing, adapting, and sometimes interbreeding. These hominins, especially Homo erectus, were the first to demonstrate qualities that would define subsequent human evolution: mastery of fire, complex tool use, and an increasingly sophisticated social life, all vital ingredients for survival in a brutal world. They were the resilient pioneers of a lineage that would continue to evolve, ultimately leading to the emergence of Homo sapiens hundreds of thousands of years later. Facing 2 million years ago, early humans navigated a world teeming with relentless challenges. The climate itself was a fierce adversary, swinging wildly between periods of intense drought and glacial cold. These shifts drastically altered the landscape, shrinking lush forests into sparse woodlands or expanding deserts in an instant. Food sources became unpredictable, forcing early humans into constant search and competition. Predatory animals loomed large in their ecosystem, from large cats like saber-toothed tigers to pack-hunting canids. These predators had honed their skills over thousands of years, and early humans were often unwitting prey themselves. Their survival depended on both their brawn and their wits, mastering the art of stealth, developing tools, and forming groups for protection. The threat of being ambushed or overwhelmed was always present, pushing early humans to be ever vigilant and adaptable. Resource scarcity was another monumental hurdle. Fresh water and edible plants could quickly diminish, especially during long droughts. Their diets had to be varied and cunning, often relying on hunting animals or scavenging carcasses left behind by predators. Skills in tracking, hunting, and butchering became vital survival traits, as early humans learned to read signs in the environment, animal tracks, bird flight patterns, and plant cycles. The terrain itself varied wildly, presenting physical barriers like dense forests, open plains, or rugged mountains. Each environment entailed different survival tactics: climbing trees to escape predators, digging for roots, or constructing rudimentary shelters from branches and leaves. They also faced the constant risk of injury and disease, with wounds infected in the cold or wet could easily become lethal. All these factors combined created a brutal, unforgiving battleground where survival was an ongoing struggle. Early humans had to harness every ounce of their ingenuity, endurance, and social cooperation to endure in a world that seemed determined to test their limits at every turn. Faced with a relentless landscape of dangers and scarce resources, early humans evolved remarkable physical and behavioral adaptations that allowed them to survive and even thrive. Their bodies became finely tuned tools of survival, shaped by millions of years of relentless natural selection. Their brains expanded, signaling increased cognitive abilities that would eventually define human mastery over their environment. Larger brains demanded more energy, which sparked a shift in their diet and foraging behaviors. They became adept at tracking game, identifying edible plants, and processing a wider array of foods to meet their nutritional needs. Their skeletal structures also changed to support their demanding lifestyles. Robust limb bones and strong joints enabled them to walk long distances with efficiency, conserving energy for hunting and gathering. The pelvis broadened over time, supporting childbirth and accommodating larger-brained babies, ensuring that they could be born with a head size capable of adapting quickly to their changing environment. Their feet evolved with arches to absorb shock during movement, giving them the agility needed to outrun predators or pursue prey relentlessly. Behaviorally, early humans developed complex social structures that maximized their chances of survival. They formed tight-knit groups, sharing food and resources and cooperating to defend against fierce predators like big cats and hyenas. Communication became essential. Their vocalizations and gestures laid the groundwork for language, allowing for coordinated hunts and the transmission of crucial survival knowledge. This social cohesion fostered innovation, tools, fire, and eventually shelter, all vital responses to environmental challenges. Hunting strategies evolved from simple stalking to sophisticated cooperative drives. By working together, they increased their success rates and minimized individual risks. They learned to track animal movements, anticipate prey behaviors, and use their environment to trap or ambush. Fire use was another game changer, providing warmth, deterring predators, and enabling the cooking of food to unlock more nutrients. They learned to track animal movements, anticipate prey behaviors, and use their environment to trap or ambush. Fire use was another game changer, providing warmth, deterring predators, and enabling the cooking of food to unlock more nutrients, which supported brain growth and physical resilience. Adaptation also extended to their sensory capabilities. Keen eyesight and sharp hearing helped them spot prey or danger from afar. Their hands developed dexterity, enabling them to craft tools for cutting, scraping, or butchering. These tools were not static. They grew more complex, reflecting a behavioral shift towards innovation and problem-solving. Over countless generations, early humans became creatures of extraordinary versatility, adapting physically with endurance and agility, and behaviorally with cooperation, communication, and ingenuity. Each change reinforced their ability to navigate a brutal environment, turn adversity into opportunity, and lay the groundwork for the complex societies to come. Around 2 million years ago, early humans found their survival hinging on a diverse and often perilous array of food sources. Their diets were not built on the luxury of choice, but dictated by the chiseled landscape, volatile climate, and their own evolving capabilities. To put it simply, their primary fare consisted of hunting large game, scavenging carcasses, gathering plant foods, and exploiting aquatic resources whenever possible. Large game hunting played a crucial role in their sustenance. Early humans, especially species like Homo erectus, began to develop more sophisticated tools which made it easier to take down or scavenge sizable animals such as antelopes, wildebeest, and even elephants or rhinoceroses in some regions. These hunts were demanding, requiring coordination, patience, and understanding of animal behavior. Cooperation among groups was vital, not just for capturing these formidable creatures, but also for sharing the meat and ensuring communal survival. The meat provided essential nutrients, particularly abundant in protein and fat, vital for maintaining their energy levels and supporting brain growth. Bones and marrow, rich in fat, became prized resources, often extracted from carcasses, scavenged from predator kills, or found after natural deaths. Scavenging also played a significant role, supplementing their diet with leftovers from predator kills or carcasses abandoned after natural death or predation. Early humans displayed remarkable adaptability in this regard. They learned to recognize signs of carcasses and navigate predator territories to secure these high-value resources. They often had to compete fiercely with other scavengers like hyenas and big cats, honing strategies for stealing or quickly consuming what they could find. Gathering plant foods added another crucial layer to their diet. Even with their growing reliance on hunting, plants, fruits, nuts, tubers, seeds, and leaves contributed significant nutrients and calories. Early humans developed the ability to identify edible plants and understand seasonal patterns. They might have used sharp stones or bones to crack nuts and tubers, uncovering hidden nutrients beneath tough shells and bark. This knowledge was passed down through generations, as recognizing which plants were safe to eat and which were toxic was vital for survival. In many regions, aquatic foods served as vital supplemental sources. Near lakes, rivers, and coasts, early humans would have exploited fish, shellfish, and amphibians. These aquatic resources provided rich protein and fat, especially important during times when terrestrial food was scarce. Using primitive tools like sharpened sticks and shells, they could fish or gather shellfish, introducing yet another dimension of dietary flexibility. Seasonality influenced all these choices. During certain times of the year, large game might have become scarce, forcing early humans to rely more heavily on plant foods and aquatic resources. Conversely, in the leaner seasons, scavenging and opportunistic hunting of smaller animals would have become more frequent, demanding ingenuity and resilience. The availability and type of foods also depended heavily on the environment. In drier regions, reliance on tubers and hardy plants was critical, while in lush areas, fruits and nuts offered abundant nutrition. The ever-changing climate meant early humans frequently had to adapt their dietary practices, switching between different food sources based on what was accessible. Their survival wasn't just about consuming calories, but about optimizing nutrition and energy expenditure. The brutal efficiency of their diet, the combination of hunting, scavenging, gathering and fishing, reflected an extraordinary ability to adapt to a relentless, often hostile landscape. These early humans built an unsteady but resilient web of food sources, ensuring their continued existence against the odds. Their ability to exploit such a variety of foods laid the groundwork for their evolutionary success, setting in motion the complex relationship with the environment that would guide their lineage through countless challenges. The fluctuating availability of plant and animal foods played a crucial role in shaping early humans' dietary choices, forcing them to become adaptable and creative in their survival strategies. Their environment was a constantly shifting landscape, where seasons, climate changes, and geographical factors dictated which resources were plentiful and which were scarce. This meant that their diet was never static, but a dynamic blend of what nature could provide at any given time. When animals were abundant, early humans seized the opportunity for a rich source of high-energy food. They developed sophisticated hunting techniques, often relying on cooperation within groups to bring down larger prey. Spears, constructed with sharpened stones and wooden shafts, allowed them to hunt from a safer distance, increasing their chances of success. The success of these hunts provided not only immediate sustenance, but also resources such as bones and hides for tools and shelter. Large animals like antelopes, gazelles, and even juvenile mammoths became critical components of their diet during peak hunting seasons. However, when game became scarce, a common occurrence during harsher seasons or in less favorable terrains, they turned to other sources of nutrition. Plants, which might seem simpler compared to hunting, actually required both ingenuity and knowledge of the landscape. Early humans learned to identify edible roots, tubers, fruits, nuts, and leaves, carefully distinguishing between nutritious options and toxic ones. Over generations, this knowledge was passed down, shaping their foraging behaviors and cultural practices. The availability of plant foods was highly seasonal and locally specific, which meant that early humans often relied on stored energy reserves during lean times. Acorns, nuts, and dried fruits were gathered and stored to prepare for periods of scarcity. These plant resources, however, were not always easy to access. Some required processing to remove toxins or make them palatable. For instance, certain nuts had bitter tannins, necessitating leaching or roasting to eliminate harmful substances and unlock their nutritional potential. This fluctuating availability of resources meant early humans had to be flexible, shifting their diets based on what was available. During abundant seasons, they might feast on a variety of fruits, nuts, and freshly hunted meat, while in leaner times, they relied heavily on preserved foods or tougher, less desirable plant matter. Their ability to adapt their diet not only provided vital calories, but also ensured they could survive and reproduce, despite environmental hardships. This dietary flexibility was also linked to their developing social structures. Groups shared knowledge about food sources, and individuals contributed to gathering and hunting efforts. This cooperation increased their chances of securing enough calories and nutrients, especially when resources were limited. It also fostered cultural rituals around food collection and preparation, passing down strategies that optimized their chances of survival. Moreover, their cognitive evolution played a key role. As they encountered various foods, their brains expanded to include complex problem-solving skills, figuring out how to crack nuts, process fibrous plants, or hunt effectively. The mastery over fire played a significant part here, as roasting plants and animals made tough-to-eat foods more digestible and added variety to their diets. Ultimately, the availability and variability of plant and animal foods forced early humans to develop a versatile, opportunistic diet that maximized the nutritional payoff from the environment's unpredictable bounty. It kept them on their toes, constantly adapting their strategies to survive and ultimately to thrive against the odds posed by a volatile ecosystem. The role of foraging and hunting in early human survival was fundamental, shaping not only their diet, but also their social structures, cognitive development, and physical adaptations. In the vast and often unpredictable landscapes they inhabited, early humans relied heavily on their ability to efficiently locate and extract resources from the environment around them. Foraging, which involved gathering plant materials, roots, fruits, nuts, insects, and small animals, was a daily activity that provided a steady supply of nutrition. These resources were typically abundant in the diverse habitats early humans occupied, ranging from forested areas to open grasslands. Hunting played a complementary and sometimes more challenging role in the subsistence strategy of early humans. It involved stalking and capturing larger game animals, such as gazelles, antelopes, and even young or vulnerable individuals from bigger animals like elephants or rhinoceroses. Successful hunts required coordination, ingenuity, patience, and an understanding of animal behavior and migration patterns. Early humans used their developing stone tools and weapons, such as sharp flakes, spears, and axes, to increase their chances of a successful kill. The dynamic of hunting was not just about procuring food, but also about social cooperation. Working together in groups enhanced their ability to take down larger prey and provided opportunities for sharing and reinforcing social bonds. Both foraging and hunting demanded a deep knowledge of the environment. Early humans had to learn which plants were edible and which were poisonous, when and where different animals migrated, and how to track their movements. This knowledge was passed down through generations, forming an essential part of their cultural heritage. Gathering and hunting also shaped their day-to-day routines, compelling early humans to develop complex strategies for efficient resource utilization. For instance, they might follow herd movements seasonally or craft tools optimized for specific tasks, whether digging roots or spearfishing. Resource acquisition was not a task carried out randomly, but was carefully planned and executed in a way that maximized caloric intake while minimizing energy expenditure, a principle known as optimal foraging. Early humans instinctively understood that spreading their efforts across multiple food sources helped ensure survival even in times of scarcity, when one resource became unavailable. They varied their diet based on seasonal availability, switching between hunting large animals during certain times of the year and gathering plant foods when game was scarce. The act of hunting and foraging also stimulated the evolution of advanced cognitive abilities. Early humans had to remember the locations of fruitful patches of plants, watering holes, and animal migration routes. They developed strategies for cooperation and communication, which eventually laid the groundwork for more complex language and social systems. Sharing meat from hunts likely promoted social cohesion and reciprocal behaviors, fostering the emergence of social hierarchies and group identities. The physical toll of these activities was substantial. The need for strength, endurance, and dexterity drove physical adaptations like robust limb structures and fine motor skills. These activities also encouraged innovations such as the creation of specialized tools, cutting implements, spears, and digging sticks, that increased efficiency and safety during foraging and hunting expeditions. In essence, foraging and hunting formed the cornerstone of early human survival strategies, influencing their physical evolution, social organization, cultural practices, and cognitive development. They were not just ways to feed the body, but fundamental drivers of human adaptability and ingenuity in a world where resourcefulness was the key to enduring the brutal, ever-changing landscape. As the seasons shifted, so too did the availability of resources that early humans relied upon for survival. The temperate zones where our ancestors thrived experienced dramatic fluctuations in climate, causing some food sources to flourish during certain times of the year while vanishing during others. This constant ebb and flow meant that early humans had to remain adaptable, resourceful, and constantly on the move to sustain their groups. During the cooler months, plant-based foods like fruits, nuts, and tubers became scarce. Many of the lush, fruit-laden trees that bloomed in spring and summer would wither or drop their bounty as days shortened and temperatures fell. Nuts, which provided vital fats and proteins, were often stored during harvest seasons, but could become inaccessible or spoil if not properly preserved. Meanwhile, underground storage organs such as tubers and roots became crucial staples during lean times. These root vegetables often stored energy in their starches, giving early humans a critical reserve to draw upon when fresh plant foods were unavailable. In response to these seasonal shifts, early humans developed dietary flexibility that was central to their survival. They didn't rely solely on one type of food, but instead shifted their diet based on what was available. In the warmer months, they might feast on a variety of fruits, berries, and honey, capitalizing on the abundance of sweet, energy-rich foods. During the colder months, their diet skewed towards fatty nuts, seeds, and the high-protein, high-fat meat from hunting larger animals. The ability to diversify their diets meant that their bodies could withstand periods of scarcity, provided they could adapt their foraging and hunting strategies accordingly. Hunting patterns also changed with the seasons. In spring and summer, early humans often pursued smaller game, which was easier to find among the lush foliage and increased animal activity. In spring and summer, early humans often pursued smaller game, which was easier to find among the lush foliage and increased animal activity. As autumn approached and resources became limited, they sometimes targeted larger animals that migrated or stored fat for the winter months, recognizing the need for substantial energy reserves. Seasonal migrations of prey species influenced travel and activity patterns, requiring early humans to track animal movements across changing landscapes and climate zones. The seasonal nature of food sources also led early humans to develop techniques for preserving and storing food. They learned how to dry meat and fish, ferment fruits into earlier forms of alcohol, or preserve seeds and nuts to last through the lean months. Fire played a vital role in this process, not only for cooking and safety but for transforming perishable foods into more durable supplies. Such innovations were driven by necessity, as ensuring a steady food supply could determine whether a group survived through the long, harsh winters or succumbed to starvation. Thus, the rhythms of the seasons sculpted the very fabric of early human diets. Their survival depended on their ability to read the signs of nature, exploit the changing bounty efficiently, and develop ever-advancing strategies for food storage and extraction. The dance with nature's cycles was a constant challenge, one that shaped the ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability of our ancestors as they navigated the unpredictable, often brutal world around them. Early humans around 2 million years ago revolutionized their hunting and food processing methods through the creation and refinement of simple yet effective tools. These tools, often fashioned from stone, bone, and wood, were critical for survival in a world where danger lurked from predators and food sources required effort and ingenuity to access. The earliest tools, known as Oldowan stone tools, appeared during this period. These were primarily characterized by their rough, core-based design and included flakes struck from larger stones, which could be used as cutting implements. Their purpose was straightforward: cutting meat from carcasses, scraping hides, or breaking open bones to access marrow, a rich source of fats and nutrients vital for survival. These flakes, sharp and versatile, could be wielded with ease and required minimal crafting skill, making them ideal for early humans who were still developing more sophisticated techniques. Hunting weapons also began to take shape during this era. While early humans did not yet possess complex projectile weapons, they relied heavily on natural objects like sticks and stones to create rudimentary spears and throwing sticks. Spear-like weapons were fashioned by attaching sharpened stones or bones to wooden shafts, often tied with plant fibers or tendons. These primitive spears were typically thrust from close range, used to hunt large game such as elephants, rhinoceroses, or other sizable mammals that roamed the landscapes. The effectiveness of these spears depended on the skillful aim and knowledge of animal behavior, as early humans learned to stalk and ambush their prey. In addition to spears, early humans made use of tools like scrapers and cutters for processing their food. Scrapers, often crafted from flint or other hard stones, were used to scrape meat and hide from carcasses, facilitating the consumption of meat and the making of clothing or shelter from animal hides. These tools often had a broad, flat surface with a sharp edge, making them ideal for a variety of tasks, from dehairing animal skins to preparing plant fibers. Bone tools, although less common, played a crucial role as well. Early humans skillfully fashioned bones from animal remains into pointed tools or awls, which could be used for piercing or sewing. These were especially useful for preparing hides, creating baskets, or crafting more specialized implements necessary for daily survival. The development of tools also reflected an increasing understanding of resource management. For instance, early humans learned to retrieve marrow from bones by using pointed tools to crack them open, a task that demanded both planning and the proper tools. This practice unlocked a significant nutritional resource, providing essential fats and nutrients that contributed to brain development and overall resilience. Furthermore, the crafting of tools was a social activity, with knowledge passing from one generation to the next. The more complex techniques required for shaping and using tools demonstrated an emerging level of skill and cooperation among early humans. This sharing of knowledge not only improved tool efficiency, but also fostered social bonds that were crucial for group survival. As time progressed, early humans refined their tools further, developing more specialized and effective weapons and processing implements. Each innovation, from sharper flakes and more precise spear points to improved hafting techniques, expanded their hunting capabilities and their ability to extract resources efficiently. These advancements in tools and weaponry signified a leap in technological ingenuity, laying the groundwork for the more sophisticated tools and societies that would emerge in subsequent millennia. In essence, the toolkit of early humans was a testament to their adaptability and ingenuity. Their ability to forge and utilize diverse tools and weapons for hunting, processing, and survival underpins the story of human resilience, one shaped by necessity and driven by a ceaseless quest for sustenance in a formidable and ever-changing world. The development of tools revolutionized early humans' ability to survive and exploit resources in ways that were previously unimaginable. Imagine a world where every meal, every challenge, and every opportunity was shaped by the simple yet profound innovation of shaping stones and bones into functional tools. These early tools didn't just help, they transformed the very fabric of human life. Initially, the earliest tools consisted of basic cores and flakes, sharp edges struck from stones to cut meat or scrape hides. This rudimentary technology marked the beginning of a new chapter. The ability to create and wield such sharp tools meant that early humans could process larger animals more efficiently. Hunting wild game became less reliant on brute strength alone, and more about strategy and precision. Instead of chasing after animals with bare hands, early humans could craft spears and razors to bring down prey from a distance or dismember carcasses with an efficiency that would have been impossible earlier. The increased success rate in hunting meant more protein and calories, critical for cognitive development and physical endurance. Tools also unlocked the capacity to exploit a broader range of resources, including those that were previously inaccessible or too dangerous to handle without proper equipment. For instance, slicing through tough hides and sinews allowed early humans to acquire skins for clothing and shelter, providing protection against the elements and enabling survival in colder climates. Knives and scrapers helped process plant materials, ripping tough fibers or cutting roots and fruits, expanding their dietary options beyond what could be gathered or hunted. This diversification in food sources was vital during seasonal lean times, when availability of preferred foods dwindled. Crafting tools also spurred advances in social cooperation and learning. Passing knowledge about toolmaking from one generation to the next created a shared cultural heritage. Some tools required careful shaping and specific techniques, implying a level of skill and communal learning. This sharing of knowledge didn't just improve individual survival prospects, it reinforced social bonds within groups. Early humans became not merely a collection of individuals, but a society, united by common practices and collective ingenuity aimed at survival. The evolution of specialized tools marked a leap forward, hunting with spears, but also crafting wooden or bone implements for tasks like digging or woodworking. The ability to dig sticks or stones into the ground increased access to underground resources such as tubers or embedded stones suitable for toolmaking. Moreover, emerging knowledge of fire combined with tools enabled early humans to cook food, making nutrients more accessible and digestion easier. Cooked meat and plants delivered more calories and reduced the risk of foodborne illnesses, giving early humans a competitive edge over other predators and scavengers. Tools also played a crucial role in defense. Creating weapons like spears and clubs increased their ability to ward off predators or rival groups, ensuring their continued safety and territorial control. With more effective means to defend themselves, early humans could secure resource-rich domains and share in the bounty of their environment. Over thousands of years, as tools became more refined, from simple flakes to composite tools incorporating bones, wood, and eventually metal, they gained versatility. This technological progression multiplied the ways in which early humans could manipulate their environment. They could now craft fishing hooks, baskets, and even ornaments, further enriching their social lives, rituals, and interactions with nature. In essence, tool development wasn't just about making survival easier, it was about unleashing potential, expanding diets, improving safety, fostering cooperation, and allowing humans to become more than mere inhabitants of their environment. Through innovation, early humans laid a foundation that would eventually support the rise of human civilization itself. Driven by the relentless pursuit of ingenuity in the face of a brutal, fluctuating world. Early humans relied on available materials to craft tools that helped them hunt, gather, and defend. Initially, they used simple substances, stones and bones, that could be shaped for basic tasks. The earliest stone tools, dating back around 2.5 million years, are known as Oldowan tools. These primarily involved flaking off pieces from larger stones to create sharp edges for slicing meat, plant material, or breaking bones for marrow access. These primitive tools were crude yet effective, exploiting natural fracture properties of stones like quartz, jasper, and basalt. Bones were fashioned into points or awls for digging or piercing. Wooden sticks, though perishable and rarely preserved, played a significant role, especially as spears for hunting. Due to their organic nature, evidence of their use is scarce. As time progressed, so did their material technology. Around 1.5 million years ago, the Acheulean industry emerged, producing more sophisticated tools like hand axes. These tools were symmetrical, multi-purpose, and shaped from stone by striking flakes off a core. Their design demonstrated a deeper understanding of stone properties and efficiency. Hand axes were used for butchering animals, digging or processing plant materials, making them vital tools. Eventually, early humans experimented with a variety of materials beyond stone and bone. They used withered wood for specialized tools like spears and digging sticks. Antler and ivory became alternative hunting implements due to their strength and durability. They also learned to attach stone points to wooden shafts, creating composite tools, an important technological leap. Combining materials enhanced durability and effectiveness, laying the foundation for more complex weaponry. Around 300,000 years ago, during the Middle Paleolithic period, Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens refined their techniques, developing methods like Levallois flaking, which produced more precise, standardized tools. They used a broader range of materials, including high-quality flints, which could be carefully worked to produce sharp, predictable edges. These advancements reflected a growing understanding of manufacturing and allowed for tools tailored to specific tasks. Later in prehistory, organic materials like fibers, reeds, and animal hides became vital. They created containers, ropes, and clothing, expanding their survival capacity. The development of sewing with bone or antler needles indicated a growing knowledge of manipulating materials. Throughout this evolution, tool materials transformed from simple, readily available resources into sophisticated composite tools, reflecting increasing cognitive abilities and adaptation. Each innovation, whether in material selection or shaping, marked progress in interacting with their environment. These developments showcase resilience and inventiveness, enabling early humans to survive and thrive amid relentless challenges. The continual advancement in materials and techniques underscores their ingenuity and capacity for innovation, paving the way for the complex tools and technologies that followed. Social cooperation during this period was a game-changer, shaping early humans' approach to tool use and food gathering in ways that laid the foundation for what it means to be human. These early communities weren't just individuals wandering the landscape. They were complex social units sharing knowledge, pooling strengths, and working together to survive in an unpredictable world. One of the most impactful ways social cooperation influenced tool use was through knowledge transmission. As Homo habilis and later Homo erectus developed more sophisticated stone tools, these innovations weren't forgotten. They became essential survival tools passed down through generations. Skilled individuals discovering new techniques, like better ways to chip stone or craft sharper spearheads, quickly shared their knowledge. Elders or experienced members taught the younger, ensuring valuable skills persisted. This social learning accelerated technological progress, enabling early humans to exploit new food sources with greater efficiency and success. Beyond tool sharing, cooperation amplified resource acquisition. Hunting large game, for instance, was too dangerous and complex for a single person. Early humans formed coordinated hunting parties that surrounded, drove, and cornered animals much larger and faster than themselves. Cooperation harnessed collective strength, with each member playing a specific role, some tracking, others throwing spears, others defending or distracting prey. This teamwork increased hunting success and made it safer and more sustainable. Gathering edible plants and scavenging food also benefited from social cooperation. Instead of individuals foraging alone, groups divided tasks based on age, strength, or skill. Older or experienced gatherers taught younger members which plants were safe and nutritious, while others kept watch for predators. When scavenging carcasses, cooperation meant sharing the spoils, strengthening communal bonds. Sharing reduced individual risks. If someone was injured or unable to find enough food, others would help fill the gap. This mutual dependence fostered trust and reinforced social bonds within the group. Scavenging became more effective through cooperation. Once a carcass was located, group efforts could break it down faster, access marrow, and extract maximum nutrients from every part of the animal. Collective effort prevented anyone from going hungry, reinforcing social cohesion necessary for survival. Sharing resources also helped buffer seasonal food shortages, as collective knowledge, effort, and shared food stocks kept the group resilient through tough times. Social cooperation also influenced early food storage and preservation techniques. Humans learned to share surplus food within their groups, reducing waste and ensuring sustenance during lean periods. This sharing laid the groundwork for later preservation strategies like drying or fermenting, which civilizations would refine. Mutual reliance was central. Each member's survival contributed to the group's overall stability. In essence, social cooperation wasn't merely a survival aid, but the backbone of early humans' advantage. Sharing knowledge, coordinating hunts and gathering, distributing resources, these behaviors increased survival odds and fostered thriving environments. The bonds formed through cooperation weren't just about immediate needs. They built a sense of community and shared purpose, propelling human evolution forward. Collective efforts, rooted in trust, communication, and learned behaviors, echo through history, underpinning the rise of complex civilizations millennia later. This cooperation made food acquisition more efficient and strengthened social cohesion, ensuring better chances of survival amid environmental challenges. It helped early humans adapt, innovate, and thrive in diverse environments, moving from mere survival to increasingly complex social structures. As humans learned to work together, they also laid the social and technological foundations that would eventually support the development of culture, language, and societies. Cooperation was integral not only in immediate survival, but in shaping human history, evolution, and the enduring capacity for innovation. The bonds forged through shared effort helped early humans withstand environmental shifts and resource fluctuations, setting the stage for more advanced societal developments. These collective behaviors, built on trust and learned skills, became crucial in overcoming adversity, demonstrating that communal effort was vital in shaping the future trajectory of human evolution and civilization. Exactly 584 words. Early humans, facing a world teeming with both large and small game, developed a variety of hunting strategies that showcased their ingenuity and adaptability. These methods were not just about brute strength or chance. They reflected a deep understanding of their environment, the behavior of different animals, and the importance of cooperation. When it came to hunting large game, such as early hippopotamuses, large antelopes, or even massive proboscideans, early humans relied heavily on coordinated group efforts. They understood that tackling such formidable targets required planning and teamwork. One effective strategy was driving animals into natural traps or into water sections where their mobility was limited. By encircling herds and driving them toward a specific point, often a riverbank or a deep gorge, they could trap animals, making the kill more manageable. This kind of drive hunting demanded a high level of communication, often achieved through vocalizations, gestures, or coordinated movements that signaled each participant's role in the hunt. Equally impressive was the use of weapons and projectile technology to hunt large game from a distance. Early humans crafted spears from sharp stones embedded into wooden shafts, creating more lethal and longer-reaching tools. Charging at large animals with spears was risky but effective when luck and timing aligned. Sometimes multiple hunters threw their spears simultaneously or sequentially, exploiting the animal's momentary weaknesses. When hunting particularly dangerous species like now extinct mega herbivores, they sometimes employed ambush tactics, lying in wait near watering holes or in shaded areas during the hottest parts of the day when animals emerged for drinking. When the target was smaller game, like rabbits, rodents, or birds, early humans adopted different tactics that capitalized on surprise and precision. Traps became a vital part of their arsenal, using simple solutions like pits concealed with leaves and branches, or snares made from flexible vines or animal tendons. These devices required patience and knowledge of animal paths and behaviors, often set along frequent migration routes or watering points. Such ambush methods allowed humans to secure multiple meals with minimal effort and risk. Clubbing and close-range hunting were also common for smaller or easier prey. Early humans could use heavy sticks or rocks to stun or kill animals close up, especially when the prey was unaware or in a vulnerable position. For instance, when birds were roosting or small game like insects and rodents were in reach, hunters might use their hands or primitive tools to catch them directly. This approach was swift and required less elaborate preparation, ideal for opportunistic hunting when the occasion arose. Another clever strategy involved the use of fire, both as a weapon and a tool. Controlled burning could flush animals out of cover, making them easier targets. Burning grasslands or shrubs encouraged animals to flee into more predictable paths or toward hunter-made barriers. Fire also helped in clearing the area to improve visibility and reduce vegetation that could hide prey. For both large and small game, the social aspect of hunting cannot be overstated. Cooperation allowed early humans to choreograph complex drives, set traps, or surround animals without injuries. Sharing knowledge about animal habits and developing collective strategies enhanced their success rates dramatically. Over time, these communal efforts evolved with the development of more sophisticated tools, better understanding of animal behavior, and an increased sense of teamwork. Hunting in this era was not simply about violence. It was an intricate dance of observation, planning, and collaboration. It was a testament to their ability to adapt and innovate, turning the challenging act of securing food into a strategic endeavor that laid the foundation for future social and technological advancements. This mastery over their environment and their prey cemented their survival, helping early humans thrive despite the world's relentless challenges. Gathering techniques among early humans were intricate, adaptive, and crucial for maximizing nutritional intake from a diverse array of plants. Envision vast landscapes brimming with foliage, roots, berries, nuts, seeds, and tubers, each offering vital nutrients but often challenging to harvest efficiently or safely. To exploit these resources, our ancestors developed a suite of sophisticated strategies refined over generations that dramatically increased their ability to obtain and utilize plant-based nutrition. One fundamental method involved meticulous plant identification. Early humans learned to distinguish edible from toxic species through careful observation, taste testing, and experiential feedback. Recognizing key features, such as leaf shape, smell, color, and growth patterns, helped prevent poisoning. Knowledge was transmitted orally across generations, embedding this recognition into cultural memory, stories, and shared traditions, thus ensuring survival. Selecting the most nutritious parts was central. They prioritized ripe fruits for their sugar content, tender shoots high in vitamins, and nutrient-dense roots and tubers rich in carbohydrates. Timing was essential. Harvesting at peak ripeness maximized caloric and vitamin yields while avoided waste from overripe or decayed plants. Early humans understood seasonal variations, migrating or adjusting their gathering schedule to maximize nutritional return and minimize effort. Tools and modifications greatly enhanced gathering efficiency. They fashioned sharpened sticks, stones, and shell tools to access hard-to-reach or concealed parts, digging out roots or peeling bark safely. Using rudimentary but effective implements reduced physical effort, increased yield, and decreased waste. Innovations like grinding stones for processing seeds or cracking nuts further augmented nutrient extraction, making otherwise inedible or inaccessible foods consumable. Processing techniques, even in their primitive forms, played a pivotal role. Initial cooking likely began with open fire roasting, which made tough plant materials like roots and tubers softer and easier to digest, while also killing pathogens. Crushing, pounding, or hacking plant matter with stone tools broke down cell walls, releasing vitamins and minerals that would be less available in raw form. Such processes increased bioavailability of nutrients, contributing to better health and brain development. Timing and environmental awareness were critical. Early humans mastered tracking plant cycles, knowing when certain berries ripened or roots flourished, so they could harvest at optimal moments, reducing spoilage and waste. Collecting and storing foods during plentiful periods ensured year-round sustenance, especially in environments with seasonal variability. Gathering was often social and cooperative, fostering shared knowledge and communal effort. Elders and experienced gatherers taught younger members which plants were safe, nutritious, and sustainably harvestable. This collective knowledge system minimized risks of poisoning, optimized effort, and preserved biodiversity by encouraging sustainable harvesting practices. In summary, early humans employed a comprehensive suite of gathering techniques: careful plant selection, seasonal timing, tool-assisted harvesting, food processing, and cultural transmission that maximize their nutritional intake from plants. These strategies, integrated with hunting and social cooperation, formed a resilient adaptation that supported their survival, cognitive evolution, and expansion across diverse environments. This intricate exploitation of plant resources was vital for their adaptation to the unpredictable and often harsh landscapes they inhabited. Early humans, navigating a world filled with diverse flora and fauna, became intuitive hunters and gatherers, selectively choosing resources that maximized survival prospects. Their diet was a complex mosaic, shaped by resource availability, physiological needs, environmental constraints, and cultural developments. Among animals, large mammals played a central role. The most coveted targets were formidable creatures, massive herbivores like antelopes, wildebeests, and early cattle. These animals were valued for their substantial flesh, providing reliable, abundant calories and nutrients essential for sustaining growing groups. Their size meant that a single successful hunt could nourish many days, making them especially prized. However, hunting large mammals was challenging. Early humans relied heavily on developing tools, spear points, stone blades, and later more advanced implements to bring these giants down. The process often required coordinated effort, with groups working together to corner and immobilize prey. The risks were high, but so was the reward, with cooperation reinforcing social bonds vital for survival. When large game was scarce or too dangerous, humans turned to smaller animals, rabbits, rodents, birds, and even injured or young individuals from larger species. These prey were easier to hunt and often needed less specialized equipment. Their meat could be gathered swiftly, adding dietary variety and helping prevent nutritional deficiencies. Seafood became crucial in coastal and riverine areas. Fish, shellfish, and marine resources provided rich proteins and fatty acids important for brain development. Coastal communities devised hunting strategies aligned with tides and seasonal migrations, exploiting estuaries and shallow waters with simple tools like spears and baskets. Resource prioritization involved considerations of ease of capture and caloric return. Larger animals, while offering substantial rewards, required more effort and posed significant risks. Smaller, readily available species provided quick, dependable nutrients and could often be gathered in large quantities during seasonal peaks. Plants were vital, especially as humans moved into varied landscapes. They sought edible roots, tubers, fruits, nuts, and seeds. Many plant foods were nutrient-rich, full of carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals, supporting energy and health. Early humans developed detailed knowledge of their environment, learning to identify safe, nutritious, or toxic plants. Fruits and berries were especially valued when ripe, offering quick energy during seasonal peaks. Nuts, such as acorns, hazelnuts, and wild almonds, provided concentrated fats and energy, often requiring processing, cracking, and leaching to remove toxins. Gathering these foods was a communal activity, with groups moving through known locations, tracking ripening seasons, and sharing the harvest. Roots and tubers, like yams or carrots, were staples during times when fruits and nuts were scarce. Simple tools like digging sticks helped extract underground foods, which were high in carbohydrates and vital energy sources. These supported physical exertion involved in hunting and gathering. Early humans prioritized resources based on nutritional value and ease of procurement, favoring animals that supplied not only meat but also useful materials: bones for tools, hides for shelter and clothing, sinew for bindings, cartilage for glue. Plants with medicinal properties, or those that could be processed into tools or containers, also gained importance in cultural practices. Resource selection was a dynamic balance, pursuing the most rewarding targets when conditions permitted, while exploiting a broad spectrum of flora and fauna for stability. This dietary flexibility contributed heavily to their resilience, enabling survival across diverse environments and climates. Refining their foraging strategies led humans to develop preferences and priorities, reflecting an understanding of their ecosystem. They learned to read signs of animal migrations, plant ripening, and weather patterns, maximizing resource use. Exploitation of animals and plants was also embedded in social and knowledge systems. Sharing game and gathered bounty fostered cooperation, trust, and collective learning, laying groundwork for future culture and technology. Over time, their strategic resource use transformed their relationship with the environment, creating a survival toolkit adaptable to changing conditions. Early humans depended on a keen combination of observation, patience, and strategy to hunt and capture prey effectively. Their survival hinged on their ability to read the environment and anticipate the movements of animals, which required a deep understanding of animal behaviors and habitats. From the moment they entered an ecosystem, early humans became like silent spectators, constantly watching and analyzing their surroundings to identify potential food sources. They observed patterns in animal movement, such as grazing routes, drinking spots, and resting areas, which informed their approach. Stalking was an art that combined stealth, precision, and timing. Early humans moved slowly and deliberately, avoiding any noise or sudden movements that might spook their prey. They learned to blend into the environment, using natural features like stones, bushes, and terrain to conceal their presence. Their ability to move quietly was crucial. They often relied on their bare feet, which provided better feedback from the ground and allowed for quiet steps, unlike shoes that could make noise and alert prey. Occasionally, they employed tricks like using branches or leaves to camouflage their approach, or to create distractions, drawing the animal into a trap. Ambushing prey was another sophisticated part of their hunting technique. Early humans would choose strategic vantage points, such as overhangs, tree branches, or hidden positions behind rocks. They would wait patiently for prey to come within striking distance, sometimes for hours, relying on their patience and the element of surprise. During this time, they remained still, conserving energy and minimizing movement. When the opportunity arose, they launched a swift, coordinated attack, often exploiting weaknesses in animal defenses or targeting vulnerable individuals like young or old animals. Their knowledge of animal behavior helped them time their ambushes perfectly, such as striking when an animal was distracted, thirsty, or engaged in social interactions. Using rudimentary tools, they enhanced their effectiveness further. Sharp stones and sticks acted as spears, darts, or throwing implements, providing the advantage of distance and reducing the risk to the hunter. They learned to gauge distance accurately, a skill vital for throwing projectiles with enough force to penetrate thick hides. Some groups developed the practice of teamwork, where multiple hunters coordinated their efforts. One or more would drive prey towards a prepared ambush site, while others waited to strike at the right moment. This combined approach of pursuit, patience, and calculated ambush tactics maximized their success rate. Their survival depended on this deep understanding of animal habits and the environment, as well as their ability to adapt tactics to different conditions. Whether stalking deer in open plains or ambushing small game in thick forests, early humans became masters of stealth, patience, and strategic planning. Their skills in tracking, stalking, and ambushing not only ensured their immediate survival, but laid the foundation for a deeper connection with their environment, an understanding that would evolve over millennia into the complex hunting and gathering strategies that shaped human history. The idea of cooking as we understand it today, using fire to prepare and transform food, remains one of the most fascinating questions in paleoanthropology. Around 2 million years ago, evidence suggests that early humans, particularly Homo erectus, might have begun harnessing fire, although the extent and consistency of its use are still subjects of ongoing debate. Recent discoveries point towards the possibility that these early humans had a rudimentary understanding of fire's potential benefits. In some archaeological sites, charcoal and burned bone fragments have been found preserved in association with early hominin remains. These findings suggest that fire was not merely a natural occurrence, but might have been intentionally controlled. Yet the evidence isn't definitive enough to depict a fully developed practice of cooking as we know it. One compelling piece of evidence comes from the site of Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, where charred plant remains and burnt sediments date back close to 2 million years. The presence of this burnt material raises the possibility that early humans could have learned to start fires by fraying sticks or striking stones together, techniques that could ignite brush or dry plant material from naturally occurring fires. However, it remains uncertain whether these fires were deliberately started and sustained or simply happened naturally, with humans taking advantage of them. The potential for early food processing without controlled fire is also intriguing. Some researchers propose that Homo erectus may have developed methods to soften tough plant fibers and extract more nutrients by pounding, grinding, or pounding food against hard surfaces. In particular, stone tools, an innovation from around this era, could have been used to cut, crush, or scrape food, making it more digestible and opening up dietary options. Grinding seeds, nuts, and tubers on stone surfaces could have been a way to prepare food, though whether these practices predate or coincide with the advent of fire remains uncertain. The transition from raw to cooked food would have revolutionized early human diets, providing easier-to-digest calories, reducing chewing effort, and freeing up time and energy for other activities like social bonding, tool-making, or exploring new landscapes. Cooking could also have helped in killing parasites and pathogens, offering health benefits that conferred survival advantages. For example, cooked meat is easier to chew and digest, allowing early humans to access more nutrients from their prey and sustain larger brains. While definitive proof of deliberate cooking from that period is elusive, the convergence of archaeological, paleo-environmental, and experimental evidence points toward a gradual, perhaps even accidental, mastery over fire and food processing techniques. Early humans likely started by scavenging recently burned carcasses and utilizing natural fire, then gradually learned how to create and control it, transforming their relationship with food and environment. This mastery would have been a game changer, ushering in a new era of dietary flexibility, technological innovation, and social cooperation that ultimately shaped the course of human evolution. The advent of cooking and food processing marked a major turning point in early human survival and dietary adaptation. While direct evidence of fire use by Homo erectus dates back around 1 million to 1.5 million years ago, the impact on food digestibility and nutritional value was nothing short of revolutionary. Before harnessing fire, early humans relied primarily on raw foods, meat, tubers, nuts, and fruits, each offering vital nutrients but often difficult to digest and assimilate efficiently. Cooking transformed this landscape. When foods are heated, their chemical structure changes in ways that make nutrients more accessible. For example, heat breaks down complex carbohydrates into simpler forms, easing enzymatic digestion in the gut. Starch, which can be tough to digest when raw, becomes gelatinized and easier to break down, increasing the caloric yield from carbohydrate-rich foods like tubers and grains. Similarly, proteins undergo denaturation, stringent unfolding of their complex structures, making amino acids more available for absorption. Fats, too, become more accessible as heat dissolves cell membranes, releasing oils trapped within plant tissues, thereby boosting energy intake. The effects on meat consumption were particularly profound. Cooking meat reduces microbial load, decreasing the risk of foodborne illnesses, which is vital when consuming carcasses in the wild. Beyond enhancing safety, cooked meat also becomes more tender and digestible, allowing early humans to extract more calories from less effort. This increased caloric efficiency was crucial in meeting the high energy demands of larger brain growth and increased physical activity. Moreover, softer tissues mean less strain on teeth and jaws, altering their evolutionary trajectory towards smaller sizes and more specialized functions. Processing foods through methods like pounding or grinding further increased digestibility. Crushed nuts or mashed tubers exposed more surface area, enabling digestive enzymes to work more effectively. These simple techniques amplified nutrient absorption, especially important when resources were scarce or irregular. The release of nutrients from processed foods also meant that early humans could sustain longer periods of activity, supporting larger social groups and complex seasonal foraging strategies. Importantly, cooking also unlocked nutrients stored in tough plant tissues, such as the nutritious proteins and vitamins hidden within roots, seeds, and nuts. These processed foods likely played a role in brain development, providing the energy and nutrients necessary for cognitive expansion and social complexity. Additionally, the ability to process foods may have reduced the time spent foraging and chewing, freeing individuals to dedicate more time to social bonding, tool-making, and history of signaling, crucial aspects that shaped early human societies. In short, mastering fire and food processing didn't just make survival easier. It fundamentally reshaped early humans' diets, boosting calorie intake, promoting brain growth, and fostering social cooperation, all essential ingredients in the story of human evolution. The control of fire was one of the most groundbreaking developments in early human history, fundamentally transforming diet, survival strategies, and even social structures. Imagine early humans stumbling across a glowing ember or a smoky campfire. What was once a mysterious and potentially dangerous phenomenon gradually became a tool that could be harnessed for survival. The ability to produce and control fire opened a new chapter for early humans, shaping their biological evolution, their environment, and their social lives in profound ways. First, let's consider the immediate and obvious impacts on diet. Raw food, while natural, often carries risks, parasites, bacteria, indigestible fibers, that made cooked food a safer option for consumption. With fire, early humans could cook meat, tubers, roots, and other plant foods, making these easier to chew and digest. This meant they could extract more nutrients from their food, supporting larger brain sizes and increased energy demands. Cooked meat, in particular, became a highly nutritious resource that likely fueled brain expansion, a key feature distinguishing humans from other primates. But the benefits of cooking went beyond just nutrition. Fire also extended the range of edible foods available, reducing their time to consumption and increasing safety. Think about tubers hidden underground or tough, fibrous plants. Cooking softened them and rendered many toxins harmless. This expanded dietary options, turning what was once inedible or dangerous into a reliable food source. As a result, early humans could survive longer periods of resource scarcity, especially in seasons or environments where fresh plant foods were scarce. More reliable food sources meant higher survival rates and the ability to sustain larger populations. Socially, fire became a catalyst for complex behaviors and social cohesion. Gathering around a fire to cook food required cooperation and the sharing of resources, fostering social bonds that are crucial for group survival. Watching the flame, sharing stories, and cooking together likely promoted communication skills and perhaps even the development of early language. The rhythmic patterns of firelight, combined with the communal activity, created a cultural space that nurtured social bonds, passed down knowledge, and encouraged cooperative behavior. Fire also provided physical protection. It kept predators at bay by creating a barrier of light and heat during nighttime. Being able to start and maintain a fire meant that early humans could defend their camps better, reducing the risk of attack from predators or rival groups. Moreover, fire helped manage the environment, suppressing wildfires in some cases and encouraging the growth of certain plant species, altering ecosystems to their advantage. From a survival perspective, fire's warmth was vital in colder climates or during harsh seasons. It allowed early humans to inhabit areas that would otherwise be too cold or inhospitable, effectively broadening their geographical range. The warmth also offered relief from the elements, reducing energy expenditure on maintaining body temperature, an essential factor when resources are limited. The control of fire might have even spurred technological innovation. The need to produce, carry, and tend fires encouraged the development of tools, like fire-hardened spear tips or flint knapping for sparks, that would later evolve into more sophisticated technologies. In this way, fire became both a catalyst and a symbol of human ingenuity, shaping how early humans interacted with their environment and each other. Over the long term, the mastery of fire laid the groundwork for more complex cultural practices, ceremonial uses, storytelling, art, fueling the evolutionary trajectory toward modern humans. It was a catalyst for cognitive advancements, social complexity, and adaptability, enabling humans to thrive in a range of environments and conditions. In essence, controlling fire wasn't just about lighting a fire. It was about illuminating the path toward our evolutionary future, shaping us into the highly adaptable, intelligent beings we are today. Dietary shifts in early humans were profoundly intertwined with major evolutionary transformations, acting as both a reflection of environmental change and a catalyst for biological and behavioral development. As the landscape shifted dramatically over 2 million years, through climate fluctuations, changing ecosystems, and fluctuating resource availability, early humans had to adapt quickly. Their diets weren't static. Instead, they evolved in tandem with physiological and cultural innovations that laid the foundation for our species' success. Imagine vast, open savannas transitioning into woodland patches, rivers meandering through terrains, and seasonal floods periodically transforming the environment. Food sources, therefore, fluctuated both seasonally and regionally, sometimes abundant, at other times scarce. Early humans couldn't rely on a single stable diet. They needed dietary flexibility to survive. This necessity prompted the development of diverse foraging strategies, gathering fruits, nuts, tubers, greens and seeds, while also expanding their dietary repertoire to include animal prey and scavenged remains. Initially, early humans primarily depended on plant-based foods, which provided an array of vitamins, fiber and carbohydrates. However, environmental changes, such as prolonged droughts or habitat shifts, often reduced the availability of these resources. When plant foods became scarce, early humans increasingly turned to hunting and scavenging for animal meat and marrow. This shift was crucial not just nutritionally but also technologically. It spurred the invention and refinement of tools, sharp stones, spears, scrapers, that enabled more effective hunting, butchering and processing of animal remains. The demands of hunting and processing animal foods necessitated physical and cognitive adaptations. The evolution of robust, stronger limb muscles and improved motor skills emerged alongside the development of sophisticated tools. Anatomically, these adaptations included broader pelvises facilitating larger-brained infants' childbirth, more powerful leg muscles for endurance running, and enhanced manual dexterity for toolmaking and food processing. The integration of these physical traits provided early humans with a significant survival advantage, allowing them to access high-quality, energy-dense nutrients that were otherwise unavailable or difficult to obtain. From a metabolic perspective, the increased intake of animal fats and proteins had a major impact on brain development. Early humans' large brains, compared to other primates, required substantial caloric input. Archaeological evidence suggests that as diets incorporated more meat, early humans experienced notable increases in brain size and complexity. This cognitive leap enabled improved problem-solving, social coordination, and innovation, traits essential for hunting strategies, tool creation, and social cohesion. Thus, dietary changes directly contributed to the evolution of intelligence, laying the groundwork for culture, communication, and societal organization. Physiologically, the shift toward digesting nutrient-dense animal foods also prompted internal adaptations. Early humans developed more efficient digestive systems, smaller guts relative to body size, that prioritized the absorption of fats and proteins, freeing up energy for brain growth and daily activities. These adjustments enhanced overall metabolic efficiency, supporting longer periods of activity such as hunting, defending territory, or caring for offspring. Increased dietary quality also meant that early humans could sustain higher levels of physical exertion and social participation, fostering cohesive groups capable of cooperative strategies. Behaviorally, these dietary shifts promoted social evolution. Coordinated hunting required communication, division of labor, and sharing, skills that reinforced social bonds and hierarchies. Groups that successfully hunted and processed animal resources shared food, developed rituals, and created social norms around resource sharing. Such cooperation became foundational for complex social structures. Additionally, the necessity to process and store food logically led to technological innovations, pounding nuts, drying meat, caching surplus, that extended the usability of seasonal foods, reduced resource dependency, and built resilience against environmental fluctuations. Dietary adaptations also influenced ecosystems and co-evolution with other species. Larger primate groups with advanced foraging and hunting tactics impacted local flora and fauna, prompting further evolutionary responses in prey species and plant resources. These dynamics fostered a continuously adapting ecological and evolutionary landscape, reinforcing the importance of diet as a driving force in human evolution. In conclusion, dietary shifts didn't just respond passively to environmental pressures. They actively shaped early human evolution. They prompted physical modifications, expanded cognitive capacities, and fostered complex social behaviors. The flexibility to exploit diverse food sources became essential for survival amid environmental unpredictability, fueling a cycle of innovation and adaptation. This cycle, environment shaping diet, diet shaping physiology and behavior, ultimately created a resilient, adaptable species capable of thriving in a multitude of extremes. It is through this intricate interplay of dietary change and evolutionary response that early humans transitioned from simple foragers into the intelligent, socially complex beings we recognize today. Diet, therefore, is not merely a reflection of environment, it is a fundamental agent of human evolution. Early humans faced an environment of constant change, and their diets reflected the need for versatility and resilience. The balance between plant-based and animal-based foods was not fixed, but rather fluctuated with seasons, available resources, and environmental conditions. Evidence suggests that their diet was highly adaptable, leaning heavily on the resources at hand, whether plant or animal. In the earliest phases of human evolution, plant foods formed a significant portion of the diet. Fruits, nuts, tubers, seeds, and leafy greens offered vital nutrients necessary for survival. These plant resources were abundant in many environments and provided essential carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals. For example, wild berries and fruits were seasonal bounty for early humans, offering quick energy sources and social gathering opportunities as groups foraged together. Nuts and seeds, rich in fats and proteins, became critical, especially during lean times when animal prey was scarce. Tubers and roots, often digging tools, were developed to unearth, supplied dense carbohydrate energy, helping sustain energy levels over long periods. However, the reliance on plant foods was not uniform. During certain seasons or in particular habitats, plant resources could be limited or less nutritious. In such times, early humans increasingly turned to hunting and scavenging for animal-based foods. The archaeological record indicates that early humans were adept hunters, capable of taking down available megafauna and smaller game. These carnivorous pursuits provided high-quality protein and essential fats crucial for brain development, physical strength, and overall survival. Meat was particularly valuable because it supplied a dense source of nutrients that plants often lacked, such as vitamin B12, zinc, and iron. The debate on how much early humans depended on animal prey versus plants continues. Some researchers argued that early humans were primarily gatherers, subsisting on a diet rich in gathered plant foods, with meat consumption playing a supplementary role. Others point out that with the advent of more sophisticated tools, like hand axes and later spear technology, humans became more efficient hunters, increasing their reliance on animal foods. Inside this dynamic relationship was the ability to switch focus based on resource availability, sometimes emphasizing plant gathering when animals were scarce, and at other times, focusing on hunting when animal encounters were abundant. Seasonality played a crucial role. During rainy seasons, when plant foods were plentiful, early humans likely relied more heavily on gathering. Conversely, in dry or winter seasons, animal foraging, scavenging, and hunting took precedence. The ability to adapt their diet based on these fluctuations was a key factor in human resilience. It also influenced their cognitive and social development. Cooperative hunting strategies emerged, requiring communication, planning, and social bonds. The intensity of meat consumption is further illustrated by the development and use of tools for food processing and butchering. Early stone tools, such as flakes and scrapers, facilitated the dismemberment of carcasses, making more efficient use of hunted animals. This technological innovation not only maximized the nutritional return from every kill, but also fostered social cooperation around shared food processing and consumption. Fire, likely harnessed by early humans some way before 2 million years ago, played a significant role in this dietary balancing act. Cooking made many plant foods more digestible and unlocked more calories, effectively broadening the spectrum of edible plants and reducing the risk of foodborne illnesses. Similarly, cooking meat made it easier to eat and extract nutrients, encouraging the development of stronger jaws and more efficient digestion. In the grand scheme, early human diets were a rich tapestry woven from the threads of plant gathering and animal hunting, with reliance shifting as conditions demanded. This flexibility wasn't just about survival. It propelled cognitive advancements, social cooperation, and technological innovations, laying the groundwork for the complex diets of modern humans. Early humans faced the constant challenge of securing enough essential nutrients to sustain energy, support growth, and maintain health in unpredictable environments with scarce resources. Their survival depended on adapting diets and foraging strategies to meet nutritional demands amid fluctuating food sources affected by climate and seasons. A key strategy was dietary flexibility. Instead of relying on a single food, they adopted a varied diet including plants, animals, fruits, nuts, seeds, and insects. This diversity was necessary to balance deficiencies from consuming one food type alone. For plant-based nutrients, early humans learned to identify edible plants, berries, tubers, and leaves, distinguishing them from toxic ones. Seasonality influenced their diet, prompting migration or food storage during certain times. They developed processing techniques like pounding, grinding, or cooking to break down tough cell walls, increasing digestibility and nutrient absorption. Fruits and nuts provided essential vitamins, minerals, and fats. Nut trees like oak, beech, and hazel offered fats and proteins vital for brain development and energy. Gathering nuts required knowledge of when they were edible, while fruits contributed sugars and vitamins necessary for immune function. Their seasonal availability demanded dietary adjustments throughout the year. Animal foods supplied proteins, fats, and micronutrients like iron and zinc. Early humans were proficient hunters and scavengers, capitalizing on carcasses and tracking animals. They understood that organ meats, such as liver and marrow, were nutrient-dense sources of vitamins A, B12, and other micronutrients scarce in plants. Insects also played a vital role, providing high-quality protein, fats, and micronutrients. Species like locusts, beetles, and larvae were abundant and easy to harvest, especially during lean seasons, filling nutritional gaps and demonstrating resourcefulness in exploiting available resources. To maximize nutrient intake, early humans used food processing techniques. Crushing nuts and seeds increased digestibility and nutrient absorption. They used sharp stones and tools to crack nuts and bones, extract marrow, and process plant foods, significantly boosting nutritional gain. Social cooperation was crucial for nutrition. Sharing food ensured everyone benefited from diverse nutrients. Successful hunters and gatherers distributed excess food, helping weaker or injured members meet nutritional needs for survival and recovery. The discovery and control of fire played a pivotal role. Cooking made food safer by killing pathogens and enhanced nutrient bioavailability. Cooking tubers and tough plant fibers improved digestibility, while tenderized meats allowed easier consumption and better nutrient absorption. Fire and cooking expanded dietary options, accessing nutrients less available in raw foods. Early humans likely engaged in primitive food preservation, such as fermentation or drying, which extended food shelf life and concentrated nutrients, especially during scarcity. These techniques helped stockpile energy-rich foods like dried meats and fruits, supporting survival during lean periods. Their nutritional approach was supported by developing cognitive abilities like memory, planning, and foraging strategies. They learned seasonal food availability, stored foods when possible, and employed techniques to maximize nutrient extraction from their environment. Throughout their evolution, early humans exhibited remarkable ingenuity in meeting their dietary needs despite difficult circumstances. Their diet adaptability, mastery of food processing, use of fire, and social cooperation formed a resilient survival strategy. These behaviors laid the foundation for complex nutritional practices, leading to the diverse diets seen around the world today. This resilience and resourcefulness were key to their success, allowing them to thrive in varied and often hostile environments. Their knowledge of natural food sources, combined with technological innovations like cooking and food processing, improved nutrient intake and health. The incorporation of diverse food sources, including plants, animals, and insects, ensured a wide range of nutrients necessary for growth and development. Their ability to adapt their diets seasonally and geographically helped them survive fluctuations in food availability. By mastering food processing and cooking, early humans increased the digestibility and nutrient bioavailability of their meals. This technological advantage contributed to better health outcomes and supported brain development, physical growth, and immune function. Their social behaviors, such as food sharing, further enhanced their chances of survival by spreading nutrients throughout the group and reducing inequalities in nutritional access. This cooperative approach strengthened community bonds and improved overall resilience. In sum, early humans ensured sufficient intake of essential nutrients through dietary diversity, food processing, cooking, food preservation, and social cooperation. Their ingenuity in exploiting available resources and adapting to environmental challenges was fundamental to their survival and evolutionary success, laying the groundwork for future dietary complexities. Fat and protein-rich foods were vital for early humans' high-energy needs, especially during environmental stress and resource scarcity. Unlike carbohydrates, which provide quick energy, fats and proteins offer concentrated, long-lasting fuel, supporting demanding survival activities like hunting, foraging, and physical resilience in unpredictable conditions. Fats were particularly advantageous. Each gram supplies about 9 kilocalories, nearly double that of carbs or proteins. Targeting fatty animals or plant sources allowed early humans to sustain longer periods without frequent feeding. These energy reserves were crucial during cold seasons or droughts when food was scarce, enabling survival. Fat also contributed to insulation, aiding temperature regulation in colder climates prevalent during this epoch. Proteins served as building blocks for muscles, tissues, and enzymes, essential for strength and recovery. Foods like meat and marrow offered amino acids and energy. Although digesting protein demands more energy than carbs, early humans developed efficient methods for utilizing these nutrients. When hunting extended or plant foods were scarce, reliance on animal proteins increased, supporting their physical needs. Beyond sustenance, fats and proteins played a fundamental role in brain development. The human brain, highly energy-demanding, needs substantial fat intake for cognitive functions like problem-solving, social interaction, and tool use. As challenges grew complex, early humans' brains evolved to process and utilize these energy-rich foods, creating a feedback loop where increased brain size spurred a diet rich in fats and proteins, influencing human evolution. Hunting strategies adapted to maximize these nutrients. They targeted high-fat animals such as large mammals, wildebeests, antelopes, and megafauna, and exploited marrow inside bones, rich in fat and nutrients. They also learned to extract fats from plants like nuts and seeds, and processed foods to access nutrients better. The invention of tools and fire helped access nutrient-dense parts of prey, such as marrow and brain tissue, boosting energy intake. Recycling and storing fats from seasonal surpluses allowed early humans to build reserves during abundance, smoothing fluctuations in food availability. This strategic storage provided a vital buffer during lean times. Over generations, reliance on fat and protein-rich diets supported immediate energy needs and indirectly fueled the development of complex social behaviors, planning, and technological innovations. Such dietary foundations enabled early humans to thrive in challenging, ever-changing environments and shaped human evolution. This reliance on nutrient-dense foods was integral to their survival, offering essential energy and supporting physiological and cognitive development. It also facilitated adaptation to diverse environments, fostering behaviors and technologies that advanced human resilience and complexity. The strategic use of fats and proteins laid the groundwork for the evolutionary trajectory of our species, highlighting their importance in early human history and development. Absolutely, seasonal and environmental fluctuations played a crucial role in shaping the diets and consequently the health of early humans. Imagine yourself walking through a landscape that transforms dramatically with the changing seasons, dry, lush, cold, or hot. Early humans had to navigate these shifts with remarkable adaptability, which meant their diets varied significantly throughout the year, sometimes with profound effects on their well-being. During wetter months or periods of abundant rainfall, food sources like fruits, nuts, tubers, and plant-based resources were plentiful. This bounty provided essential vitamins and minerals vital for growth, immune function, and overall health. Berries and fruits rich in vitamin C helped prevent scurvy, while nuts and seeds supplied healthy fats and proteins necessary for brain development and energy storage. However, these resources were often seasonal, leading to periods of feast and famine. When the seasons changed and plant foods became scarce, early humans had to rely more heavily on hunting and scavenging to meet their nutritional needs. In contrast, during drier months or in environments with less plant growth, meat and marrow from animals became the primary dietary sources. This shift was not just a matter of preference, but a necessity for survival. The increased reliance on animal protein and fat provided a dense energy source, but also introduced risks, such as exposure to parasites, infections, or nutritional deficiencies if hunting was unsuccessful or limited. Extended periods of low food availability could weaken early humans, making them more vulnerable to disease and environmental stresses. Environmental conditions also influenced the quality and diversity of available foods, which in turn affected health. For example, in colder climates or during winter seasons, early humans faced the challenge of maintaining body heat and energy in the face of reduced food supplies. Their bodies adapted by becoming more efficient at conserving energy and storing fat. But if these adaptations weren't enough, malnutrition and weakness could set in. Conversely, in warmer and more temperate regions, a richer diversity of edible plants and animals mitigated some of these risks, allowing for more stable health and greater population growth. Water sources, often seasonal as well, impacted diet as well. During periods of drought, access to clean water diminished, increasing the risk of dehydration and waterborne diseases. Conversely, in wet seasons, increased water availability supported the growth of edible aquatic plants and allowed for easier hunting and gathering along rivers and lakes. These variations in water sources directly influenced dietary patterns and overall health. In these dynamic environments, early humans developed remarkable resilience and flexibility. They learned to exploit whatever was available, understanding the coming and going of food resources, sometimes through tracking animal migrations or embracing new plant foods as they appeared. Their bodies, minds, and communities all evolved in response to these fluctuating conditions. This constant balancing act, adapting diets in response to seasonal swings, was essential not just for survival, but for the evolutionary journey that shaped modern humans into the versatile, resourceful beings we are today. The physical features of early humans developed in response to dietary challenges, reflecting their need to adapt to fluctuating environments. These pressures, from droughts and ice ages to shifting prey, necessitated not only behavioral changes, but also significant physical adaptations for optimal resource utilization. One of the most notable evolutionary changes was in their jaw structure and dental makeup. Early humans developed larger, more robust teeth, especially molars and premolars, tailored for grinding and chewing tough fibrous plant fibers and meat remnants. This contrasted with earlier primates' smaller teeth, which primarily relied on softer foods like fruit. The increased size and strength enabled early humans to process a wider range of foods, including hard nuts, seeds, and coarse plant material. Along with larger teeth, their jawbones became more robust, providing support for powerful chewing muscles. This reinforcement allowed for more efficient breakdown of tough foods, unlocking vital nutrients inaccessible to less equipped jaws. Such adaptations proved critical in environments where food was scarce or difficult to obtain, prompting early humans to maximize their resourcefulness. This also resulted in a broader face with a more pronounced U-shaped dental arch, a feature observed in fossils reflecting dietary flexibility. Changes extended beyond the mouth. Their skull shapes shifted over time, areas around the face became smaller and less protrusive, driven by the advent of cooking and food processing methods that softened or cooked foods. These techniques reduced the need for heavy, powerful jaws and larger facial structures. Another major evolution involved the digestive tract. Early humans consuming cooked meat and processed plant foods likely developed shorter intestines compared to their ape ancestors, which depended heavily on fibrous diets requiring longer digestion times. A shorter gut is more energy efficient, supporting larger brains, an essential aspect of human evolution. The shift towards calorie-dense, high-quality foods meant early humans could sustain larger brains while reducing gut size, freeing energy for cognitive development. Limb proportions also evolved in tandem. As dietary tools and fire became more common, early humans relied less on brute strength for foraging and hunting. They developed limb structures suited for long-distance travel and precise tool use rather than raw power. Limb proportions favored endurance and agility, aligning with strategies like persistence hunting and foraging over extensive areas. Over time, skeletal robustness lessened, reflecting a decreased need for massive muscle attachments. A less demanding environment, where strategy, food sharing, and technology played vital roles, shaped lighter bodies capable of covering more ground and exploring new territories. This decline in robustness allowed early humans to access a broader range of food sources, from distant fruits to coastal shellfish. In summary, the physical features of early humans, teeth, jaws, skulls, digestive systems, and limb proportions, story their ongoing adaptation to dietary pressures. Each modification improved their ability to extract maximum nutrition from available foods, ensuring survival amid environmental unpredictability. These evolutionary changes laid the groundwork for further adaptation and development, ultimately enabling humans to thrive in diverse environments. The relentless drive to adapt physically and mentally allowed early humans to overcome dietary limitations, gaining advantages in mobility, resourcefulness, and cognitive capacity. This evolutionary journey, driven by the need to efficiently process, digest, and utilize foods, set the stage for the complex, adaptable species we are today, highlighting how dietary pressures directly shaped human evolution over millions of years. Survival during this era depended heavily on behavioral adaptations early humans developed to enhance their foraging and hunting techniques. These adaptations were strategic innovations, allowing them to navigate unpredictable landscapes and resource scarcity. One of the most significant adaptations was cooperative hunting. Early humans didn't rely solely on individual effort. They worked together to stalk, trap, and take down larger prey, significantly increasing success rates. This cooperation required communication, coordination, and understanding roles, skills that evolved through gestures, vocalizations, and early social intelligence. When hunting large animals, some members scanned from a distance while others drove prey into traps. This strategy not only increased food intake, but also fostered social bonds, vital for surviving in challenging environments. Another crucial adaptation was tool use. Early humans crafted and used implements to aid in foraging and hunting. Sharp-edged stones were used to cut meat, process fruits, and crack nuts. Tools gave access to a broader range of foods, including those that were previously difficult or impossible to obtain. Over time, tool technology advanced, with the development of spears, bows, and arrows, enabling ranged attacks and safer hunting from a distance. This progress allowed them to hunt larger animals more efficiently and safely. Close observation and knowledge transfer also played key roles. Early humans learned to recognize animal migration patterns and seasonal fruit ripening, timing their trips to coincide with resource peaks. This knowledge was passed orally from generation to generation, creating a collective pool of ecological understanding that optimized success. Cultural transmission of environmental knowledge helped groups adapt strategies to local conditions, avoid resource overexploitation, and reduce risks. Food-sharing behaviors further strengthened social cohesion. Sharing kills and gathered foods fostered trust within groups. This altruistic behavior allowed injured or weak individuals to benefit from communal support, ensuring group resilience. Such sharing reinforced bonds and was critical for collective survival. The invention and control of fire was a transformative behavioral innovation. Fire enabled cooking, making meat safer and easier to digest, increasing its caloric value. It provided warmth, protection from predators, and a social focal point. Communal fires became hubs of social interaction, reinforcing bonds and transmitting survival knowledge. Fire's control expanded feeding options and improved nutritional intake, crucial for sustenance and health. These behavioral adaptations, cooperative hunting, tool use, ecological awareness, food sharing, and fire management, interwove into a complex web of survival strategies. They empowered early humans not only to survive but also to thrive amidst relentless environmental challenges. These innovations fostered social bonds, increased access to resources, and improved safety, laying the foundation for future evolutionary advances. Each played an integral role in shaping human resilience, adaptability, and success in an unpredictable world. Together, these behaviors transformed survival into an evolving art, enabling early humans to adapt to their changing environments and ensuring their continuation and growth across generations. Absolutely. Dietary needs played a significant role in shaping the social structures and cooperative behaviors of early humans. Think about it. Food scarcity and variability weren't just solitary struggles. They demanded collective effort, innovative sharing, and adaptive strategies. When resources were abundant, groups could thrive, but during times of scarcity, survival depended on how well they could work together, sharing what little they had. early humans weren't just scavengers or hunters acting in isolation, they were social teams, deeply interconnected by their need to secure nourishment. For instance, hunting large mammals wasn't just a matter of individual strength. It required coordinated group efforts. Cooperation was essential for stalking, ambushing, and successfully bringing down prey that was often far too large or dangerous for a single person. Once the prey was down, sharing the spoils became critical. This sharing wasn't just about fairness. It was a pragmatic way to ensure everyone's survival, from the strongest hunters to the youngest members of the group who couldn't hunt yet or gather enough on their own. Gathering plant foods presented its own social dimension. Certain edible plants, nuts, and tubers required collective knowledge for safe and efficient gathering. Learning which plants were nutritious or toxic, where to find seasonal foods, and how to process them often depended on shared experiences passed down through generations. This communal gathering created bonds and reinforced group cohesion, especially in environments where food sources were unpredictable or seasonal. Cooking, a revolutionary advancement made possible by fire, also reshaped social dynamics tied to diet. When early humans learned to control fire, they unlocked the ability to make food more digestible, safe, and calorically efficient. Gathering around a fire to cook wasn't just about nourishment, it became a social activity, fostering communication, shared rituals, and bonding. It gave rise to routines of communal eating, which strengthened social ties and established cultural norms. Sharing cooked food also meant distributing nutrients more evenly across the group, ensuring that even the less skilled or weaker members received sustenance. The need to cooperate over food resources also influenced social hierarchies and kinship roles. Those who were best at hunting or gathering often gained social status, and sharing resources could have been a strategy to consolidate alliances or secure future cooperation. This exchange of food and resources served as the foundation for complex social relationships, mechanisms for reciprocity, and even the development of early cultural practices centered around food. Moreover, food sharing was vital in times of hardship. During droughts, cold seasons, or after failed hunts, groups that pooled their resources and supported each other increased their odds of survival. Not sharing in such times could mean starvation, so communal cooperation wasn't just a social preference, it was a lifeline. In essence, dietary needs didn't just dictate what early humans ate, they actively sculpted their social fabric. Cooperation, sharing, and collective effort became integral to their survival, influencing everything from daily routines to the evolution of social hierarchies. Food was more than sustenance. It was a unifying force that fostered trust, social bonds, and an enduring sense of community among our ancestors. Their survival depended on understanding that their strength was in their unity, and their ability to work together over shared dietary challenges indelibly shaped the social structures that laid the groundwork for future human societies. In a world of unpredictable shifts and scarce resources, early humans were active shapers of their environment. They learned to read land signs, animal movements, and seasonal changes, transforming their surroundings into a network of opportunities. Their actions went beyond mere survival. They aimed to master their environment by adapting chaos into a sustaining landscape. A major environmental modification was their control of fire. Discovering and mastering fire revolutionized their relationship with nature. They learned to start and maintain fires, manipulating flames for their needs. Fire provided warmth in cold seasons, kept predators at bay, and enabled exploration into harsher areas. More importantly, it transformed raw foods, meat, tubers, and nuts, into more digestible, nutrient-rich meals. Cooking unlocked hidden calories in tough fibers and connective tissues, making food a vital tool for survival and brain development. Fire mastery wasn't just about cooking, but also shaped routines and social structures, proving crucial to their adaptation. Beyond fire, early humans demonstrated ingenuity in resource utilization. Facing arid savannas or dense forests, they built tools and shelters from natural materials. They gathered wood, bones, and stones, shaping these into implements for hunting, processing food, or construction. For example, chipped stones with sharp edges became cutting tools, essential for food prep and weapon crafting. These innovations extended physical capabilities, allowing more effective hunting and processing, thereby reducing energy expenditure. Raw resources thus became usable tools, transforming basic materials into essential aids for survival. They also strategically foraged, not randomly, but through learned knowledge. Identifying edible plants, seasonal patterns, and resource-rich areas enabled exploitation of food corridors with abundant resources. Their seasonal migrations followed food availability, ensuring steady supplies and preventing overharvesting. This resource management preserved environmental health and supported populations over many scarcity seasons. Their environment also faced tangible modifications. Evidence shows they used natural features like riverbanks, caves, and rock shelters, not just as temporary refuges, but as strategic bases. They manipulated these environments through digging, creating fire pits, or using caves for storage. Archaeological findings suggest deliberate landscape alterations, such as creating fire scars or clearing areas to improve visibility and safety. These modifications produced safer living spaces and efficient foraging zones, transforming passive landscapes into semi-controlled habitats that supported basic needs. Water management was crucial as well. Although they didn't engineer advanced irrigation, early humans settled near reliable water sources, rivers, lakes, springs. They understood water's importance for drinking, cooking, bathing, and attracting game. They sometimes used natural features like wetlands or riverbanks to trap fish or small game, effectively creating fishing grounds. These areas provided vital sustenance and reduced effort for hunting or gathering while supporting community activity. Social cooperation amplified environmental modifications. Sharing resources like food, tools, and knowledge allowed groups to exploit broader environments. A successful hunt producing surplus meat could be shared among the community, freeing others to gather plants or raw materials elsewhere. This collaborative effort created a web of resource exploitation, reducing strain on any single area and promoting sustainable use of resources. Over generations, these cumulative modifications laid foundations for more complex adaptations. They learned to select and manipulate resources to sustain growth and resilience. They crafted safe, comfortable living spaces, created tools to improve resource gathering, and developed strategies for food procurement that balanced exploitation with renewal. Every fire-built, tool-shaped, or landscape-altered was part of an adaptive dance, testament to ingenuity and tenacity. Ultimately, early humans were not just surviving but actively shaping their environment to meet their needs. They became resource managers, anticipating seasonal changes, exploiting natural features, and innovating beyond their natural limits. This resourcefulness enabled them to flourish amid adversity, laying the groundwork for complex societies, technologies, and cultures that would follow. Their environmental modifications and resource management set the stage for the emergence of human resilience and progress, demonstrating their ability to adapt and thrive in a challenging world. The survival diet of early humans 2 million years ago was shaped by necessity, environment, and innovation. Unlike modern diets, often influenced by culinary trends, convenience, and global food systems, their diets were driven by immediate availability and survival pressures. Early humans relied on a diverse range of foods hunted, scavenged, gathered, and exploited from their surroundings, making the most of every resource the landscape offered. Their diet reflected an intimate knowledge of their environment. They hunted big game like wildebeest, giant antelopes, and early elephants using tools to make precise strikes. These large animals provided high-calorie meat, marrow, and brain matter essential for energy and brain development. Survival often involved scavenging leftovers from predators or opportunistically consuming carcasses, which introduced nutrient-rich bones, sinews, and marrow, far from the modern concept of a controlled dinner plate. Gathering plants was another vital aspect. Early humans scoured wild fruits, tubers, nuts, and greens. Unlike today's processed foods, these were seasonal, wild, and often unpredictable. Recognizing which plants were safe and their optimal harvest times required detailed environmental understanding. Ripe fruits supplied quick energy, while roots and tubers provided sustained nourishment during hard times. They also exploited aquatic resources like shellfish and fish, offering additional protein sources that contrasted with their land-based diet. Their adaptation extended to technological ingenuity. Early humans crafted simple tools from stone, wood, and bone, sharpening edges for cutting flesh and breaking bones to access marrow. The mastery of fire transformed their diet, enabling food to be cooked, Cooking made tough plant tissues and connective tissues easier to digest, unlocked flavors, and improved nutrition, since cooked food is more digestible and easier to extract nutrients, providing a survival advantage. Social cooperation was crucial. Sharing kills and resources fostered community bonds, ensuring group survival through collective effort. Successful hunting of large game often depended on coordination, while food sharing ensured all members, including young and old, received vital nutrients. In contrast, today's diet is abundant and accessible, often divorced from environmental cues or seasonal cycles. Processed foods rich in refined sugars, unhealthy fats, and artificial additives dominate, starkly contrasting with early humans' unrefined, natural foods. Modern diets emphasize convenience and taste, whereas early humans prioritized survival and adapted their choices to maximize energy and nutrition in a volatile environment. Fast food, prepackaged snacks, and supermarket shelves full of processed items stand in opposition to the raw, freshly gathered and hunted foods of early humans. Their diet was as much about necessity and ingenuity as sustenance, demonstrating resourcefulness in a challenging world. Remembering these differences reminds us how deeply our ancestors intertwined their survival strategies with their environment, an intricate balance modern society has in many ways lost but increasingly seeks to restore. Their diet was shaped by necessity, environment, and technological innovation. Early humans hunted large game, scavenged carcasses, gathered seasonal plants, and exploited aquatic resources, all with detailed environmental knowledge and tool use. The mastery of fire allowed them to cook, improving nutrition and digestion. Social cooperation ensured shared resources and group survival. Today's modern diets, by contrast, are often disconnected from such natural processes, relying heavily on processed foods and convenience, representing a shift from survival-driven choices to convenience-driven consumption. Recognizing these differences highlights how our relationship with food has changed, and how reconnecting with natural whole foods might improve health and cultural understanding. Looking at early humans' resourcefulness, we can learn valuable lessons. Their survival depended on adaptability, ingenuity, and understanding their environment, not just strength or luck. As modern humans face rapid technological change and global challenges, these ancient strategies offer important insights. A key lesson is flexibility. Early humans didn't rely only on hunting large animals or sticking to a single food source. They adapted their diets based on availability, scavenging when game was scarce, hunting when possible, and gathering plants, fruits, and nuts to fill nutritional gaps. They exploited aquatic resources like shellfish and fish, recognizing multiple food sources around them. This versatility allowed survival across varied climates and landscapes. Today, adaptability remains crucial. Climate change, environmental degradation, and shifting food supplies demand flexible diets and lifestyles. Instead of a narrow diet, embracing a variety of foods, plant-based options, sustainable meats, and locally sourced produce reflects our ancestors' resourcefulness. Experimenting with different foods and adjusting eating habits seasonally or locally can improve health and resilience. The mastery of technology by early humans offers further lessons. They crafted tools for hunting, processing food, and defense. Control of fire extended their food choices. Cooking made food safer, easier to digest, and unlocked additional nutrients. These innovations boosted survival chances and allowed them to extract maximum energy from their environment. In a modern context, continuous innovation is vital. Our ancestors' ability to invent and refine tools highlights the importance of ingenuity in facing challenges. Whether adopting innovative agricultural practices, advanced food preservation, or developing sustainable food systems, technological progress rooted in understanding and creativity can help foster a resilient relationship with our environment and food sources. Social cooperation played a central role in early survival. They hunted collaboratively, shared resources, and built bonds that enhanced collective resilience. This interconnectedness helped them face hardships that would be overwhelming alone. One important lesson from them is community. Support, shared knowledge, and collective effort are essential. In today's world, fostering communities around sustainability and shared knowledge about nutrition, health, and environmental stewardship is beneficial. Actions like community gardens or conservation efforts can create more sustainable, equitable food systems. Recognizing that individual choices influence the whole emphasizes cooperation and shared responsibility in building a healthier planet. Another lesson is environmental attentiveness. Early humans were keen observers, noticed seasonal changes, animal behaviors, and plant cycles, and used this knowledge to plan diets and activities. Developing similar awareness can guide better decisions about sourcing food, reducing waste, and conserving resources, aligning actions with natural cycles. Their resilience amidst change offers another insight. Early humans faced ice ages, droughts, and rival groups but persisted, learning from each experience. This teaches us that adaptability isn't only about immediate survival, but evolving with purpose, learning from setbacks and seeking continuous improvement. Resilience involves understanding and respecting nature and coexisting harmoniously. Their resourcefulness shows that survival depends not just on battling nature, but on understanding and working with it. We can draw inspiration from their ability to adapt diets, innovate, collaborate, and observe. These lessons promote resilience and sustainability, qualities vital for addressing modern challenges. Their story reminds us that at our core, we are part of an intricate web of life. Embracing these lessons could lead to a healthier, more balanced future. By understanding the importance of adaptability, ingenuity, social bonds, environmental awareness, and resilience, we can forge a path towards sustainable living. Recognizing our roots with ancestors encourages us to approach current issues with respect, resourcefulness, and cooperation. Their survival strategies teach that harmony with nature and community can provide tools for enduring change. We can learn to change our diets, innovate with new techniques, foster cooperation, and stay attentive to the environment. These practices echo ancient wisdom. Success isn't solely about strength, but about understanding, respect, and working in harmony with nature. By embracing these lessons, we develop resilience and sustainability, ensuring a better future. Their story reminds us that humans have always thrived by adapting, evolving, and cooperating, principles still essential today. Their resourcefulness inspires us to navigate a complex world with wisdom rooted in shared history, cultivating a balanced, sustainable relationship with nature and each other. This connection to the past can guide us toward a healthier, more sustainable future for all. Paleoanthropological discoveries serve as invaluable windows into the lives of our ancient ancestors, revealing clues that shape our understanding of early human nutrition in profound ways. These findings don't just paint a picture of what early humans might have eaten. They illuminate the complex interplay between diet, environment, and evolutionary adaptations that define their survival strategies. One of the most revealing aspects of paleoanthropological evidence comes from the study of fossilized bones and teeth. The morphology of teeth, for instance, offers direct hints about what early humans consumed. Thick, robust molars suggest a diet that included tough, fibrous plant material, requiring significant chewing power. On the other hand, pointed incisors hint at a diet that involved piercing and tearing, often associated with hunting or scavenging flesh. By analyzing dental wear patterns and microscopic wear facets, researchers can determine whether early humans relied more heavily on plant matter, animal protein, or a balanced combination of both. Beyond teeth, the chemical signatures retained in ancient bones and tools also deliver important insights. Isotopic analysis of bones allows scientists to detect the types of foods that made up a significant part of early humans' diets. For example, elevated levels of nitrogen isotopes typically signal a diet rich in animal protein, while oxygen isotopes can point to the consumption of fresh water or marine resources. These chemical clues help piece together whether early humans were primarily hunters, scavengers, gatherers, or a mix of all three. Fossilized feces, known as coprolites, provide perhaps the most direct evidence of diet. When preserved, they contain remnants of undigested plant fibers, seeds, and even some animal material, revealing what was actually eaten. Studying coprolites has shown that early humans were not solely meat eaters. They consumed significant plant resources, including tubers, fruits, nuts, and roots, sometimes in substantial quantities. This dietary diversity underscores their foraging ingenuity and adaptability in varying environments. In addition to examining the biological remains, paleoanthropologists explore stone tools and remains of animal carcasses. Cut marks on bones provide evidence of butchery and meat consumption, indicating who hunted or scavenged carcasses and what parts they prioritized. The sophistication and variety of tools, from simple flakes to spear points, reveal how resourcefully early humans exploited their environment. These tools, combined with spatial analysis of archaeological sites, help us understand how early humans targeted different food sources seasonally and geographically. Environmental reconstructions based on pollen, sediment, and fossilized flora and fauna further enrich this understanding. They tell us what kinds of plants and animals were available, enabling a comprehensive picture of the nutritional landscape early humans navigated. When environmental conditions shifted with climate change, becoming colder or drier, early humans demonstrated remarkable dietary flexibility, shifting from fruit and plant-based diets to increased reliance on meat, a trait crucial for survival in harsh conditions. All these lines of evidence, anatomical, chemical, archaeological, and environmental, interconnect to tell a compelling story of dietary adaptation. Paleoanthropology illuminates how early humans harnessed their physical traits, technological innovations, and social cooperation to optimize their diets amidst a fluctuating world. Their ability to exploit diverse resources not only sustained them, but also propelled their evolutionary journey, laying the foundation for the complex diets of modern humans. Each discovery underscores the resilience, ingenuity, and versatility that defined our ancestors' survival across millions of years of environmental upheaval. Many imagine early humans as relentless carnivores, sweeping through the landscapes in relentless pursuit of the biggest prey, their diets dominated by meat and muscle. This image, while partly rooted in the evidence of hunting and scavenging, paints an incomplete picture of the complex dietary strategies that early humans employed. One widespread misconception is that they relied solely on meat for survival, neglecting the rich variety of plant foods, tubers, fruits, nuts, seeds, and aquatic resources they exploited. In reality, their diets were remarkably diverse, shaped by availability, seasonality, and environmental conditions. Contrary to the simplified view that early humans were primitive meat eaters, archaeological and biological data reveal their dependence on a broad spectrum of foods. For millions of years, early humans gathered plant foods just as much, if not more, than they hunted animals. For instance, fossilized plant residues, phytoliths, and ancient tools suggest they foraged for tubers and fibrous plants, which are dense in carbohydrates and crucial for energy. In some climates, especially during lean seasons, these plant resources became vital survival staples, providing necessary nutrients when game was scarce. Their ability to consume plants, even those that are tough or bitter, speaks to the development of dietary flexibility and advanced processing techniques, like grinding or cooking. The misconception that fire was primarily used for cooking meat, but not for plants, is also misleading. Early humans harnessed fire not just to make food easier to chew and digest, but also to process plant materials, roasting tubers, nuts, and seeds to unlock their nutrients, eliminate toxins, and improve palatability. This ability to process and consume otherwise indigestible plant foods significantly expanded their dietary options, allowing them to thrive in a widening range of environments. The fire also played a role in deterring parasites and pathogens associated with raw plant and animal foods, reducing health risks. Another myth concerns the importance of aquatic resources. For years, some believed that early humans gained only minimal benefit from water-based foods, but evidence increasingly demonstrates that lakes, rivers, and coastal zones provided abundant, nutrient-rich resources. Shellfish, fish, and aquatic plants supplied easy-to-catch, energy-rich meals essential during periods of dry or cold seasons, when terrestrial resources became limited. The inclusion of aquatic foods also explains the development of anatomical features, favoring the consumption of water-based resources, like stronger jaw muscles and specific dentition. Introducing this broader view of early human diets also sheds light on their nutritional resilience. By consuming a mix of animal and plant foods, early humans secured their intake of vital nutrients such as vitamin C, fiber, and various minerals, which were less accessible if their diet was restricted to meat alone. This diversity likely contributed to their ability to adapt to wide-ranging climates, from the savannas of Africa to temperate regions far from the equator. It is also important to dispel the myth that early humans were unselective or opportunistic eaters. While they capitalized on available resources, they demonstrated proto-culinary skills and food preferences. Evidence suggests they selectively gathered fruits with higher sugar content, targeted specific game species, and cooked particular plant foods to enhance flavor and digestibility. Understanding these nuances clarifies that early human diets were not static or simplistic, but dynamic, resourceful, and highly adaptable. They reflect a keen understanding of their environment and an ability to utilize a variety of food sources to meet their nutritional needs. This dietary flexibility was a cornerstone of their resilience, enabling them to survive in the ever-changing landscapes of their time. Far from the image of primitive carnivores, early humans were sophisticated foragers, hunters, and processors, true masters of their environment who balanced animal and plant foods in a dance of survival that was as complex as it was effective.